Hi everyone, it's Marissa here from Rise High, and today I'm talking to Judy, who is a teacher at Sturt Street Community School, and really excited to get Judy's perspective on how we can educate our kids about financial literacy, how we can give them better money management skills. So Judy actually is currently the Year 4-5 teacher, I believe, at Sturt Street. Is that right, Judy?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for joining us today. But we're also really interested to get Judy's input and opinion because she actually has a lot of junior primary teaching experience as well with the younger students. We are firm believers that you can introduce financial literacy education at a fairly young age. So that's why we're quite keen to get your take on, the sorts of things that teachers can do with their students to try and prepare them for learning about money. And also let's look outside the school and talk about the sorts of things that parents can do at home. So welcome, Judy.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today. So I'm keen to know, in your experience, I guess as a Year 4-5 teacher, but as also, junior primary, your previous experience, what sort of things do you think teachers can do inside the classroom that can help students understand the concepts of good money management skills?
Yeah, that's a good question. We do have the Australian curriculum that we follow, so I think that's been well set out that students learn from the early years, and there's a natural progression in the maths program. Mm-hmm. So money is covered from reception through in the curriculum, so that gives us a basis for our teaching. So in the early years it's mainly about learning how the Australian coins, the Australian notes, and then becoming familiar, and then it moves on to being able to add those, and then also understanding that it's not only Australian money that's a currency that's used in the world, but that there are other currencies.
Yeah.
And so I think the financial literacy obviously seems to grow as the year levels and the age of the students grow.
And, do you find that students do enjoy learning about money in the classroom?
I think students definitely enjoy learning about money. Yeah. They love the hands-on aspect of looking at money, using money. They usually like playing with money, playing shops in the early years, handling fake coins, but they also love to handle real coins and work with money.
And then I guess that's a really good point, because I'm a firm believer that it's a lot easier to teach children about money with physical money, so with notes and coins. But obviously today we're living in a digital society, and it's more like an invisible money world where, the students might be going to the shops with their parents, and they might see their parents, hold the FPOS or the ATM card and the credit card up. How easy do you think it is for children to shift their understanding of physical money to the use of things like credit cards and debit cards and things like that?
Well, I've been teaching for a long time, and initially when we taught money, it was all about coins and notes. Yeah. And it's been interesting that if you go and buy a cash register for play money, there are credit cards that come with it.
Isn't that great?
There are games that come
with the toys have evolved with the times.
Games have now come with credit cards, and I think the students really understand the use of credit cards because they see their parents, they understand that digital money, they see their parents using them, and they seem to make that natural transition quite quickly and easily.
Yeah, I think it's definitely easy for them to grasp onto the concept of how to use a credit card. The interesting element is, do they understand, or at what point how do we help our children to understand that the credit card is not a magic card that just spits out an endless amount of money, that there is a limited amount of money behind it, and that the money that you do, or the things that you do pay with credit card, will also mean that your money reserves will go down.
Sure. And obviously, like any teaching, you do need to make the links. Some students have things in their prior knowledge that help them to already have some of those understandings, perhaps things that have been happening at home that have made the connections, but with any teaching there are always some links that you do need to make and some explicit teaching. Yeah. So I think it is really important to start from the young ages where students do get to see the object, the money, and get to handle it. But as they get older, they need to then make the links between what is happening and how they can manage their money.
Yeah, and I think it's certainly, from my perspective, it's really pleasing to see that the curriculum has changed to reflect the need to introduce financial literacy and money management into the curriculum. Because I know, when I was at school, and most likely when you were at school, it wasn't really something taught in schools, how to manage your money. So many people many adults of today's world would have graduated from high school, got a job, or gone to uni, got a job, without really a great understanding of what to do with the money or how to manage the money, and what they would have learnt about money would have come from their parents, if their parents had actually taught them anything, or if their parents hadn't taught them anything, the children would have, just by the nature of watching them, would have picked up some things. So, are there things that you think parents can do at home to help their children's understanding of money management? Not just what money is, but how to actually, how to budget, how to save, how to save, invest for their future, things like that. Is there anything that you think parents can do to help to stimulate that learning?
I think it's really important that parents are open about the use of money. I have noticed that children that are involved with some financial planning and perhaps have some money of their own to manage, whether it be from pocket money or some form of money, and learn to manage it themselves, seem to have that understanding. I think it helps for children to hear some conversations, or perhaps even know some budget plans for the family. I think that really helps a lot. I know there's not always, it's not always something that you want children to feel guilty about, whether there is enough or not enough money, but I do think having some kind of a concept of the family budget and some of their goals for using money does help them to start internalising and understanding for themselves.
I completely agree with you, to be honest. I think that it's so important for parents to involve their children in important money decisions, because that will help them to grasp the concept of money management moving forward. And I absolutely love it. Obviously we're in the mortgage broking industry, and we run education seminars for adults, but what I love more than anything is when people bring their children with them. Because, how good is that they're not only leading by example in the sense that they're trying to make the right decisions for their financial circumstances and their money moving forward, but they're giving their children the education behind that and involving them. And I think it's such an important thing.
Yeah, because that's always a hard one, isn't it? Learning those skills. So if you've done it with your families, when you're in a safe position where you're not actually using your own money,
exactly,
then you can learn.
It's a really safe environment to learn how to manage it, and to learn, what works well, what doesn't work well, how they want to feel about money, what relationship they want to have with money. So I think that's some really, really good tips. Thanks so much. Is there anything else you'd like to add today, Judy?
I suppose we draw on our memories as well. So the things that worked well for us as children also do seem to have an impact. So I guess just thinking back on our own experiences help, where there was honest and open discussion, and being involved in just understanding the family budget and financial needs is helpful. So I think if students learn about money and financial management in schools, those things will stay with them. And if they're getting good experiences and learning to manage in some way, often through programs. At our school we have Charities Day where students raise money for charities.
That's fantastic,
So then
because it also teaches them about being giving and appreciating what they've got, which is really, really important as well. I think when it comes to money management also, you know, it's not just about earning and spending and saving for yourself, it is about earning, spending, saving and giving.
True.
So I think that's a really important element.
And sometimes as the children go through the older classes, they need to raise money for camps and excursions. So they're involved in fundraising and planning events, and they need to think through what is it that is going to bring money with the least expenditure. And so they're making those plans, they're having to budget, they're having to think through what is going to be popular, what is going to be needed by the people in the community, and also what fits in with the boundaries of the school, whether it be healthy, whether it be something that's saleable and likely to bring good money for their fundraising.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think Sturt Street Community School does a lot of really wonderful teachings in the areas of money management, financial literacy and social awareness and community engagement, but also entrepreneurship. So I think that is something to commend you on, because your school's doing a wonderful job in those areas. I would also like to ask you for your feedback. Obviously, Rise High Rookies has been coming to Sturt Street Community School for the last couple of years and working mainly with your, I think, year 4 to 6 students in previous years. And we're also coming again next week for our 3rd year in a row, which is really exciting. And I just wanted to know from your perspective as a teacher, you know, how have you found the Rise High Rookie sessions, and how have the students found them?
Yeah, well, I've been in the younger years, so this year will be the first in the year 4 to 7. But I find with the younger years, the students, it's very engaging. A lot of the things that they learned in the session, they stayed with them. So later on in the year, they would bring up some of the little slogans and some of the little sayings, and they understood the concepts because they've done it in their money. So it obviously stuck with them.
Yeah,
it made
that's
sense.
fantastic.
They were able to use it, and then even when we were discussing other concepts, that it was brought back up again. So and I could refer to it because I knew they all had a common understanding.
That's fantastic. So do you feel like it actually helped to add some interest and also add a bit more to what you're teaching ordinarily in the curriculum?
Well, absolutely, because I think calling in the experts on a topic is always a good way to go, and having access to a good presentation is obviously going to be helpful. So.
Oh, great. And would you say that the students enjoyed it and found it quite engaging?
They were always engaged. They have been engaged, and it's always pitched at their level. So I found that really helpful. Sometimes when there are sessions, it may not necessarily be pitched to the students' level. So, but I've found that with these sessions they are.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's why we keep having you back.
That's good feedback. And would you recommend to other schools and community groups to get involved and book in free financial literacy sessions for their students?
Free sessions are always good, and yes, because as I said, calling in the experts just adds to your curriculum, and even though you may be covering it in what you're doing in the classroom, having someone give that extra perspective perhaps in an acting out way, it involves all the senses and it sticks with the children.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time, Judy. It's been really nice talking to you today, and you're doing a wonderful job at this school, empowering your students in those areas. So we really appreciate your time and really appreciate your support for the program.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Bye.